Welcome, I'm Darren, and I'll be your guide today as I look at the 1999 and 2000 Pacific Prism card sets. This is phase 2 of the Pacific Prism experience, and in a way it's almost kind of phase 3 as they were trying to make it all work. Pacific Prism was originally created in 1993 as a derivative, as a spin-off of an insert set in 1992 that was really cool as a 1990, or I should say it was pretty cool as a 1992 insert. But as a 1993 card set, it didn't quite work. 94 they adjusted it a little bit, made the card design a little bit better. They added some gold parallel, and then in 1995 they made a major upgrade to the card set, but they still couldn't quite make the card work, so the collectors really thought about the cards and wanted to pursue them. They were up against some pretty heavy weights. They were up against SP and Bowman's Best. So the Select Certified had just come out, so they really did have a tough time matching up with some heavy competition. And so Pacific just threw in the towel after 1995 and completely rethought the whole idea of a high-end card set, or a really intriguing card set, with two card sets, Dynagon and Invincible. And Dynagon was actually called Pacific Prism Dynagon, or Dynagon Prism, I can't remember how they called it, but it was basically the next generation of the Prism tradition. And it wasn't too bad of a card. It worked well enough through 96 and 97, but by 1998 they didn't have anywhere else for it to go. And so by 1998 the only card set that they had that was doing this kind of thing was Revolution, which was quite a card set. So in 1999 they decided to brush off the original Prism, or really more brush off the 95 Prism, and make a run at trying to make these cards work again, which this was about the right time for it, because by the late 1980s or 1990s we were all about parallels and inserts, and especially parallels, and that's what Prism was designed around. In 95 they only had one parallel. In fact, in 96 the first Dynagon set only had one parallel. Wait, did it have? Yeah, it sort of had a parallel. In 97 was when they got nuts with the parallels there. So that's what Pacific was going to be all about. It was going to be about parallels, and the canvas that the holofoil background provides, perfect for it. So the 1999 card design is a vertical card design. Here it has a band down at the bottom with the team logo and some text. So it's designed like a normal card. Finally, about time that they did this. And it makes the whole card work really well, because the tight shot of the player with the holofoil background with that design element looks almost like a normal card. So they're off to a great start. And the background, the holofoil background, has texturing in it that, unlike the 1995 design, which had a very simplistic grooving in the background, here it's a lot more intricate. It has stuff going all over the place, which means that field of holofoil does actually have interest to it, so it's not just a lost space. So the card design was very, very well designed. But like I said, this was designed around parallels. And 5 parallels to be exact. So there are 6 versions of every single one of these cards. And the first parallel is their gold holofoil parallel. And these cards are serial numbered out of 480, as you can see on the bottom. And they have kind of a grid pattern in the design, or in the treatment of the holofoil, with little fans in each one, which allows the card to be kind of broken up and have a lot of interest going on. That doesn't mean that it's a great looking card, but it's a card that definitely grabs your attention. They then had another parallel, which was their purple, or really it's raspberry card, but I believe it's always referred to as purple. These are serial numbered out of 320, and as you can see, it's just a straight holofoil, just like the regular card. It doesn't have anything broken up, but it doesn't need it. The richness of the color works so well on these cards, makes them look great. The third parallel is their silver holofoil parallel, which is like the gold. This is the silver version, and it has all the little boxes, serial numbered out of 150, so they're shifting the way that the numbers are aligning. And then the last one is, the last of the main ones is their blue parallel, which, like the purple, this is just a straight blue, nothing else to it. These are serial numbered out of 80, and this is really kind of the platinum blue. It does have a lighter color to it, so it is the platinum blue for Pacific Prism. And then they have the very last, which is different from the others, which is their premiere date cards. And the premiere date, this is something that Pacific like to do in pretty much every single release. This is the equivalent for Pacific Prism, serial numbered out of 61. And it's really tough to see the logo because it's embossed right in the middle of the card, so you got to get the light just right to be able to see it, all the text on it. And the premiere date is basically inspired by the old tradition of Stadium Club first day cards. That's kind of the Pacific tradition. Now the card set was a 150 card set and include veterans and rookies. So unlike 1995, where they mistakenly made a Series 1 and Series 2, they did have the cards all in team order and then the rookies at the end. Here in 1999, they only made a single set, 150 cards, but while it is still oriented in teams, laid out that way, all of the rookies show up as regular players in each of the teams, except they are all in their college uniform. So they stand out very, very well. But that's the way that they designed the set, so all the veterans and all the rookies have all the parallels. But obviously, parallels isn't the only thing here in the late 90s. You also have to have a lot of inserts, and they had some very interesting inserts here in 1999. The first of these inserts is Dial-A-Stat, and this is just so annoying for collectors. The problem that the card has, it has a brad right in the middle of the card because there's a cardboard disc on the back of the card. The cardboard disc's back has the write-up for the back of the card. On the front, there are little slits, and then when you rotate the disc, little stats, or different stats, show up in the cards so you can see the different stats as you roll through. That's the whole point of the card. But because of that brad right in the middle of the card, it means that it doesn't fit well in a stack of cards. It tends to damage the cards on either side. And especially if you get a couple of these cards next to each other, it's just a nightmare. And even if you put them into binders, they're damaging the cards on either side, they're damaging the plastic. It's an interesting idea that is just so annoying. But I love that they did it. But I will say, it's pretty tough to be surprised by one of these in a pack because they don't hide well. They also, after enough years, are probably going to have a little bit of damage on the cards on either side, which is unfortunate, but this is their first insert. Their next insert is probably more interesting, which is the ornaments cards. And the ornaments are all die cut, and they're die cut like different designs for Christmas ornaments. Every single one of these with a bunch of holofoil on it with words and some like streamers and effects on it. So the card has a lot of liveliness to it. And it has a punch for the cord for being an ornament, including the cord. So for the 1999 design, these cards all have the cord that come with it. In 2000, in a whole nother release, they would do the same thing, but in 2000 they would leave the cord off, which makes them feel very much cheap and like they're missing something. So here in 1999, they had the cord in the pack, so when you open the pack, you can put it right up on the tree. And on top of that, again, it's very difficult to hide them in packs, but this is a little bit easier to work with as a collector. So no problem with that. But there are multiple designs. Now, every single player has only one design, so there are no parallels here. But there are a number of different designs like Christmas tree baubles and Christmas trees themselves. So there's a wide range of the designs for these little ornaments. But like I said, very creative, very unusual. And then you have the prospects cards. And the prospects cards are rookie cards. Very nice rookies. I mean, these look more like 1997 Pacific inserts as opposed to 1999. Just very well crafted, lots of gold foil. The whole way that the design is done just has that great richness of what you want a rookie card to look like. So absolutely fantastic. And then the last insert set they have is Sunday's Best. And Sunday's Best is a card that has a whole pattern behind the player, but it also has a holofoil, not a fractal holofoil effect, but it has a holofoil effect on it on top of the pattern, which is a really interesting combination that makes the card unique and a lot of fun, and kind of makes you wonder what they could have explored with all of this on regular cards. But at least they did do it here. So that was the 1999 set, and there's not too much to it, but there's enough. But it's really more about ripping packs, trying to get everything completed. So 2000 was not quite a rinse and repeat. There's a lot of similarities between them, but right from the outset, in the year 2000, there was a different interest in having rookies cards in sets, to the extent that this is actually Pacific Prism Prospects. That's literally the name of the set. It's built around the rookies. The card design is very similar to the previous year. It's still vertical, still has the whole field of holofoil behind. It has a more updated box down at the bottom, but the pattern that's punched into the card here, in this case, it's a football field, which it doesn't have the energy of the previous year, but it has very much a strong design theme quality to it that is very unique to this particular set. And once again, they did do the parallels. They only did 4 parallels, not 5. And so there are 4 that are repeated. The purple is the only one that did not get repeated. But they did switch the order around for the serial numbering, and all the serial numbering is on the back as opposed to the front, which was in 1999. So in 2000, they have a gold foil box in the back, like you can see here with the gold Prism parallel. And the gold Prism parallel, as you can see, is also serial numbered out of 50. So in this case, this is the rare card rather than the easiest card in 1999, but the pattern that they use on the front is the same. Likewise for the silver, it is again the same pattern, so there's continuing that tradition. And in this case, this is more, as you would expect, more common. So there are 75 copies of every single one of the silver cards, whereas the gold cards, there are only 50. So here, the gold cards are harder, the silver cards are easier, as you would expect. And then they also have the blue, and the blue is once again done without the grid of effects. These cards are serial numbered out of 100, so they are a lot more common than the previous ones that we saw, although not too much different than the previous year in 1999. And then again, they did their premiere dates to close everything out. Here, once again, they have the logo embossed right into the middle of the card, and in this case, they're all serial numbered out of 138. So those are the parallels. But that is only for the first half of the set. So for the year 2000 card set, the Prospects card set, it's a 200 card set where 100 veterans start the card set out, and then 100 rookies are featured in the second half, each one of them serial numbered out of 1000. But none of the rookies have parallels, so only the first 100 cards have the parallels. The rookies only come as the regular rookies serial numbered out of 1000. That's the way they designed the set. And, well, now it's time to move on to the inserts. Now, they do have more inserts in the year 2000. And the first one is, once again, dial-a-stats. Now, the dial-a-stats for 2000 they're different in a couple of ways. Obviously, the fact that they're horizontal is a big part of it. The wheel fits better into the card, which I gotta say is kind of nice. But this is a card set just of rookies. So that is a major difference for the 2000 card set. And then they have a really interesting card set called Fortified with Stars. This is a set of parodies of cereal boxes. So here we have Drew Bledsoe, so it is, instead of Cheerios, it's Bledsoes. And then of course, instead of alphabets, it's Alphabetus. And it's actually really cool because the design on the front works really well for a parody. They have a couple of little elements on there that are kind of fun, but on the card back, they actually do have the stats in the nutritional box. So they're playing around with this. It's really kind of cool. And they also have checklists on actually every single card, because down at the bottom, they played that cereal box trick of showing you all the different varieties of cards you can get in the card set. Every single player has only one design. There are no parallels because that's the whole point of these. But It is cool to see down at the bottom all of the different cards in the set in the little display that they have, which is just, this is a really cool set. I love that they put this together. And then in 2000, Pacific was doing jersey cards in every single release. Every single release had their own version of the card set. So they had their unique players for each one of the sets, a unique design for each set, and the Pacific Prism jersey card has kind of a modern, energetic flair to it with that curved element in the card back. So that is the distinct way that you can see, that you know the difference for the Pacific Prism cards, other than the fact that it has the Prism logo on it. So there you go. And then they also did another unique card, which was snow globes, where they have a horizontal card that is designed kind of like a snow globe. Yet this is really interesting because they don't have foil on this card, and if there was any card you would expect for them to play around with foil or hollow foil or sparkles or something, it would be this card. But they did not do that. So this is a card that is designed, it feels kind of incomplete. I really don't know why they didn't do anything more, because it just screams something needs to be happening on this card, especially when you consider the ornaments from 1999. So that's the way they designed that set, or that card. And then they have their candidates cards, and there are two sets for this. There is the MVP cards and there's the Rookie of the Year cards. These look like they would be a part 1 and part 2. Basically the veteran cards and then the equivalent rookie cards. The cards have a big baby blue effect on the back, and all of the veteran cards in this card set have a gold band or gold foil band down at the bottom. And that's the thing that's significant, because the other set, which is the Rookie of the Year candidates, have a silver band down at the bottom. Otherwise, the card design's basically the same, but these are two standalone sets, so they repeat the numbers. So you gotta understand that there are two sets. So all the gold cards go with gold, all the silver cards go with silver, and that brings Prism to a close, quite literally. Now in 2001, they would use the name and do something like they did with Dynagon, where they would have Atomic Prism, which was, in 2000 they just dropped Prism and say it was Atomic. That set has nothing to do with Prism. So this is the last of the 5 Prism sets that they made for football. It's unfortunate that they couldn't continue it on, but look, Prism was something that fit in the 90s. It did not fit into the 2000s. So there really was no place for it to go. And this is a wildly different card than what we would see Panini create decades down the road. So this is the close to the Pacific Prism sets. So I really did enjoy collecting the 95 and the 99 sets. Those are the two that I really got into. It would have been nice to collect the 2000 sets, but I was kind of phasing out of card collect, or I was trying to phase out of card collecting at the time, and it did not stick. So those were the two sets that I really connected with. But I do wish that Pacific had, wish Pacific had stuck around, but I wish they could have continued it. They couldn't. Regardless, if you haven't seen the previous Pacific Prism set video that I did for the 93 through 95 set, I did that a couple weeks ago, so you can definitely check that out if you haven't had a chance. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I do urge you to do so, and check out the rest of my videos. And thank you very much for watching.